Civic. We pulled into the gas station there. The guy comes out and we said, "Hey man, we looking for Big Joe Williams." He said, "Yo, yeah. Go down there just a little bit and you take that first left." He said, "You go down that road a little bit and you'll see a white house with a front porch. That's his sister's house. She'll know how to find him." So we took off out of the gas station and took that first left. Went down that road a spell, saw the White House, went up and knocked on the door. She came to the door and we said, "Hey, we're looking for Big Joe Williams." She said, "Well, he's not here." Said, "He lives in a little trailer down the road. You'll see it down there. It's a tiny little trailer." I said, "Great, we're going to find him there." And she said, "No, you're not going to be there. You got to go past that trailer. You'll see a big shade tree with a car parked underneath it. You'll be sitting up in that car. You see it's a lot cooler there than in this trailer." So we pulled out of there and went on down the road, past the trailer out in the field there. Saw the big shade tree, car parked underneath. Sitting in the front seat of that car as big as life was Big Joe Williams. And here's what happened that day back in 1978. You got a part you can play in this. All you got to do is say the words Big Joe. Some of you know when to do that. Maybe you can lead the rest of them around. Well, here's the story I want you to know about the very first day I met Big Joe. We drove on down to his automobile, and there he was sitting up behind the wheel. Well, I knew it was him. You asked me how'd I know? He had a bright red shirt and it said Big Joe. And he opened his mouth, he sang, "Well, baby, please don't go. Well, don't you go." Yeah, he said, "I wrote that. I've traveled all around. I've been to France, I've been to Germany, I've been to your hometown. I've been down at the bottom through those old whistling pines, up and down Highway 49. Well, you know Big Joe Williams, he was a mighty man. He had a big fat fingers on both of his hands. He had 9 strings on his guitar. He looked like a giant behind the wheel of that car. Well, I knew it was him. You asked me how'd I know? He had a bright red shirt and it said Big Joe. When he opened his mouth, he sang, "Well, baby, please don't go. Well, don't you go, don't you go." Yes, he said, I wrote that. I've traveled all around. Boy, I've been to France, I've been to Germany, I've been to your hometown. I've been down in the bottom through those old whistling pines, up and down Highway 49. Well, all right now. Well, there I was, sitting in his car, a little white girl in my national steel guitar. Joe sang gospel and I played slide. Will the circle be unbroken, baby, by and by? He said, "You know my mama used to sing that song to me. I swear I saw a tear roll down his cheek. Yeah, I started playing Amazing Grace. He got a twinkle in his eye, yes, a smile on his face. Well, I knew it was him. You asked me how'd I know? He had a bright red shirt and it said Big Joe. And he opened his mouth, he sang, "Well, baby, please don't go. Don't you go, don't you go." Yes, he said, I wrote that. I've traveled all around. I've been to France, I've been to Germany, man, I've been to Oxford town. I've been down in the bottom through those old whistling pines, up and down Highway 49. Yeah, well, that's the story I want you to know about the very first day I met Big Joe, and he sang to me, "Oh, baby, please would be good there. We've been in the library with
Yeah, do you have any stories about him creating that sort of 9-string guitar? I mean, he's known for this.
He didn't want anybody to sound like him.
Yeah.
I mean, that was his thing, and you know, he wanted to have his own unique sound, and he had it. Not many people you're gonna see try to copy Big Joe Williams successfully, anyway.
Yeah.
But there's another story that I can tell you about him that involves Miss Lillian. Bob Dylan was playing in 1978 at the Coliseum in Jackson, Mississippi. This was during his period where he wasn't, you know, he quit drinking and I don't know if it was the Rolling Thunder Review thing or no, I can't remember that, but we got Miss Lillian and Willard, and we had, our friend Blewett Thomas had brought Big Joe down from Crawford, and we all piled up in the Toon Suba RV and drove over to the Coliseum and met up with Blewett and Big Joe, and Big Joe crawled up in the RV, and Miss Lillian and him talked a lot, and I have a couple of pictures of that. I don't know if you had those or not. Probably not.
I think I did.
I wasn't with it to send it to you, sorry. But anyway, it was a great day, a great conversation they had, talking back and forth to each other. And Willard and Lillian left, and we went on to the show. And it was funny because backstage, they weren't letting anybody backstage. No press, nobody. And here we come with Big Joe, and here we are. We're brought in because Bob Dylan knows Big Joe's there. And his connection to Big Joe was when he was a small youngster in Chicago. Big Joe would play up there, and he would go sit and watch him. And he told us that night, he said, Big Joe taught me how to double thump my thumb on the bass string, how to not just plug it down but come back up with it too, you know. He could do that double strum. So that's what Bob Dylan told us about Big Joe. And we all sat around and talked a little bit, and then he and Bob Dylan and Joe went to another room, and we kind of hung out after, you know, this was after Dylan had performed, and they stayed back there for a little bit, and then out came Joe. And you know, I know he was probably in there trying to get some money from him. And he came out saying, well, you didn't give me no money, but that's all right. He called him Little Bobby, by the way. Little Bobby didn't give me no money, but that's all right. We got it worked out, you know. And anyway, Bob Dylan held up the tour bus for probably about 40 minutes for Joe, and I thought that was pretty special. That was a pretty unique and special time, too. I mean, I think I would have ever met Bob Dylan not for Big Joe.
So we've kind of talked about a lot of people you met, but how did you get into Blue? What was your first introduction to it?
Well, I was a teenager listening to white bands playing black music, and I didn't know it. Mm-hmm. You know, and when I found out, I went looking for who music they were playing, and that led me to some of it in a way. I mean, at the time I was old enough to have a driver's license and go to New Orleans to the warehouse and see the bands, you know, see people like Freddie King and, you know, the Allman Brothers and God, tons of people. You know, I just, it developed into the band that did the London series, the Muddy Waters London series recordings.
Yeah. Is it the Yardbirds?
Yeah, no? What? I
don't know. I can't.
I know, but I can't think of it right now. But anyway, that one struck me too. And before I knew it, I was trying to find out more of that kind of music. And I bought this songbook at our local music store in Pascagoula. It had a picture of Sun House on the front with this beautiful steel national guitar, and it just captivated me. And I started looking through the book, and there were songs from Mississippi John Hurt, you know, and people like that. And I was like, wow, who are these people? But it wasn't until I was, and I was going to school in Jackson for dental hygiene when I met Bobby, who lived up in North Mississippi and had the connection with the Hill Country people. People like R.O. Burnside and Johnny Woods and Jesse May Hemphill and all those folks. So when I met up with him, everything started to make sense with the other music, that I'd been listening to. And that's when he and I were asked to procure the entertainment for the very first Delta Blues Festival. So we went around and met a lot of people then, Houston Stackhouse, and people that we had not yet searched to find or anything, and signed them up for that festival, which was a disaster at the first. I think they're fixing to have or if they already had it.
Well, that was 78 for the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if they've already had it or they're fixing to have it, but it started a long process for that festival, and it's still successful and going on. So it was all good. But that's how I kind of got involved in getting to know all those people. Was going to knock on the doors and talk to them about their, if they wanted to play the festival, or just talk to them about whatever they want to talk about. Really, didn't go in pushing anything on anybody, just conversation.
Yeah, it's been a very important festival. I mean, it used to be, and